Welcome back to another MOTOBOB video, and today you join me at the Triumph Factory Visitor Experience for the announcement of a special partnership between Triumph and one of the world's most renowned watch manufacturers, Breitling. So today not only did we get a limited edition Triumph with some Breitling logos, but also a limited edition watch from Breitling with some Triumph branding on it as well. So in this video we're going to go through all the details of the bike, as well as tell you about the watch and how it ties into the design of the motorcycle. Now, I kind of had a feeling that a special edition Speed Twin was coming, because last time I was here, we were here for the launch of the Gold Line editions of the Bonneville lineup. Pretty much all the bikes in the Bonneville lineup got a new special paint job for 2022, yet the Speed Twin was absent. So now we know why with this stunning looking bike. Now, the Speed Twin makes a great candidate for a tie-up with a watch manufacturer because it's got that performance edge to it, but also the old school cool and looks that really do suit the image of high-end watches. It's one of my favorite retro motorcycles, pretty much my favorite Bonneville, certainly for the road, and a big factor of that is the engine. So it's the high-power variant of the 1200cc version of the Bonneville Parallel Twin. Makes plenty of power, loads of torque, bags of mid-range, and it really does have a lively throttle response, and it's loads of fun on the road. The other thing as well is it has that 270-degree crank, gives this bike and the whole Bonneville lineup a lot of their character and a beautiful sound, especially if you fit some freer flowing pipes. You get a tubular steel cradle frame and twin rear shocks for that quite traditional retro look. But when you get on it, you can feel that the geometry and riding position, they're a little bit more like a street triple or a speed triple, you know, the modern sporty roadsters. So it really is set up to handle. Previously though, the first gen of the Speed Twin, it did bias a little bit more towards that retro aesthetic with the suspension and the braking. You had regular right way up forks and some fairly standard Brembo brakes, but new for 2021, they've updated it with some Marzocchi upside down forks, so less unsprung weight. That's going to give you better response and better performance, and also some top-notch Brembo M50 calipers, so a much upgraded braking setup, and it really does improve the performance and handling of this bike. There's a link in the description to my full review of the 2021 version of the Speed Twin. Elsewhere around that, it's a pretty simple bike, but it really suits the retro character. You do get a couple of riding modes, you get switchable traction control, but in the cockpit you've just got a pair of simple analog dials, so speed and revs, and then a little LCD inlay to manage like heated grips and riding modes, but otherwise it's an undistracted retro riding experience. Thing is though, a lot of these bikes are going to be sold on the looks, and it really is a great looking bike. Like I say, it's part modern, sort of part sporty, so although it has a lot of the traditional styling cues, the way the engine looks, the round headlight, the seat and tank, it's all pitched forward a little bit for more aggression than something like the T120. But I think in this limited edition, this is one of the nicest finishes I've ever seen on a Speed Twin. Specifically, this paint job on the tank, I really like this color of blue. It reminds me actually of my Street Twin, which I had when I started the channel, but this one is color matched from an original 1951 Triumph Thunderbird that was used in the movie The Wild One, starring Marlon Brando. So there's a bit of heritage and history in this color choice. At the same time, it also has a touch of modern, so they've given it the newer Triumph logo here in this band of jet black, and then that's flanked by a couple of coach lines which are done in-house here by the same team that do the Gold Lining by hand on all the Gold Line Bonnevilles. On the top of the tank, we've got the Breitling logo, which is a nice subtle touch, and then it's finished off with a Monza fuel cap, which is standard on all the Speed Twins, but really does suit the aesthetic of this limited edition. Now up here in the cockpit, the clocks are an obvious place to highlight the collaboration with a watch manufacturer, and they've done that by changing the sort of faces on the clocks here so the color matches that of the tank, and it really does look pretty nice. And moving back, we've also got a saddle on this bike that is dedicated to this limited edition. So this is another area where it ties into the watch. You've got a black leather perforated saddle, which is echoed in the design of the strap. You've got a tuck and roll style pattern to the stitching here, some contrast grey stitching along the edges, and then with another neat little touch of Breitling branding, you've got the B from their logo embroidered at the back here. And I think that's what I really like about this special edition. If they just put a big Breitling logo on the side panels here, it might have looked a bit garish. There are just a lot of nice subtle touches across the bike, including the engine badges. So you've got the alternator cover on this side, and then the clutch cover badge on the other side. On the standard bike, these are just little plastic infills. You can get Triumph branded accessories with a bit more of a premium metal feel, but these ones are black anodized and CNC'd, and yeah, they could have kind of cut this out to make it a bit more bright and pop in, but I really like the subtlety and stealthiness of them. So that's all the aesthetic stuff, but at the back here, we've also got a bit of a performance upgrade. So on the standard bike, you get regular, just preload adjustable shocks, but on this version, you get some top spec piggyback Öhlins fully adjustable shocks. And not only will that lead to an improved feel in the ride quality, but also that adjustability helps you to dial the bike in exactly as you like. These look pretty similar to something like you get on the Thruxton RS. I don't think this is an upgrade that's available for the standard Speed Twin, so a nice feature there. And I think it also adds a bit of a premium look to the rear end. Always nice to see a bit of gold anodization that you get with Öhlins products. Now this bike is a limited edition. It's going to be limited to 270 units, which is quite a small run for Triumph. Why 270? Well, if you were paying attention earlier, which of course you were, then it's got a 270-degree crank. All the Bonneville twins get that space in between the two pistons, and it's part of what gives them that character and sound. Now you get the limited edition number on the bar clamp, so this is number 4 of 270, and you also get a certificate of authenticity signed by both the Triumph CEO Nick Bloor and the Breitling CEO George Kern. Now onto the watch, and like I say, it's tied into this whole project, so there are lots of little design references that bring the two together. So clearly the watch face with a little bit of Triumph branding and the same color scheme, but also the watch strap that ties in with this seat with the black perforated leather. There's also a diagram of the parallel twin engine design on the back of the watch, which is a really nice sort of like secret feature. Obviously, you're not going to see that when you're wearing the watch, so it's quite nice to have it hidden away there as a bit of an Easter egg. There'll be 2 versions of the watch available, one more widely available, but also for anyone who buys the bike, you've got the opportunity to buy it and then get the limited edition number engraved onto the actual watch, which, if you've bought the bike, clearly you've got to do that. It's an absolute must. As for pricing, well, this one comes in at 16, so I think you're looking at 4 or 5 grand more than the standard Speed Twin. Clearly there's a lot of extra finish that's gone into this. You also get those Öhlins shocks, but I think it's that limited number that really makes it appealing, especially to anyone who's a Breitling collector or anyone who is already a fan of Triumph and Breitling. For reference, the Moto 2 Daytona that came out a couple of years back, there were 765 of those in Europe and then 765 for the Americas, so over 1,500 bikes. So this really is a much smaller, very special run. As always, I'd love to know what you think of it down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.